Democratic candidate Nicholas Kristoff has been disqualified from running. Why the Secretary of State took him off the ballot.
And we also have an explosive situation brewing in Corvallis this morning. Actually, it's implosive. Later this hour, we're going to head out live to Oregon State's campus to preview the implosion of the west side of Research Stadium, which is set to happen right around 8 o'clock this morning.
Wow, pretty crazy. Okay, happy Friday, everyone. Good morning to you. Let's check on our Friday forecast. Here's Rod.
Well, remember this morning we have the final weather front marching inland, and then once that clears this afternoon, our weather will quickly calm down. The weekend still looks to be dry. Here's the first thing I'm watching. We have a wind advisory here in the valley. South winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour potentially. I showed Aurora at 31. There's Salem right now gusting at 36. There's a wind warning this morning for the coast. All this as a cold front comes in. There's Newport south at 41. And also breezy south winds across really all areas. Rain has been kind of quiet the last couple of hours, but you see the heavier rain pockets, the brighter colors off to our west. So rain will be picking up through the 6 o'clock hour this morning. So at the bus stop, it'll be rainy and windy and still mild, about 50 degrees. By noon, though, just like that, the winds are calming down. We become mainly dry with a shower chance, 47 degrees, and then mainly dry, some sun breaks, and 45 when the kids get out of school later today.
Rod, thank you much. Well, we begin this morning on the Oregon coast. It's one of several areas across the region facing landslides, flooding, and damaged roads.
Some of the stretches leading to the coast are in bad shape right now, too. KGW's Catherine Cook shares the story of one man who actually got out and started warning drivers to avoid a road that was on the brink of washing away.
Washed out in mist. This is Highway 47 near the Mist Junction.
Well, earlier I could hear the water rushing down the road.
That was around noon Thursday. Marvin here lives nearby and knew something was wrong. The pavement was cracking, the culvert undermining. He started warning drivers to turn around.
We were talking about the kids at the school walking across the road that was there so they could get home. And about 10 seconds later, that answered that question and it thumped. We scattered. Yeah, it was a big thump, all that pavement hitting the ground.
Crews secured the area, just one of multiple spots in the Coast Range damaged by heavy rain, snowmelt, high wind, and high tides, all at the same time. Just south of Seaside.
That's halfway up my rims.
ODOT eventually closed this stretch of Highway 101 to cars because of flooding. Nearby, Bierman Creek jumped its banks, and on the Nehalem Bridge, a strong gust knocked over this semi-truck.
It's more extreme than what we've seen in the past.
Ted McLean is Public Works Director for Clatsop County. He hasn't seen conditions like this in 15 years. He's asking people to stay home and, if possible, off the roads, especially around high water.
They could be swept with the water, or swept off the road, which, you know, they could lose their life in some of these situations.
The Seaside School District canceled all classes and activities for Friday because of unsafe road conditions. Clatsop County is expecting high tide around 5 a.m. Friday morning, which could bring more trouble. Crews will be out monitoring bridges for debris and keeping roads clear.
Yeah, now it's all gone.
Back in mist, none of this is really new to Marvin. He's lived here 52 years.
You know, it's not for the weak-kneed.
If you're worried about him feeling trapped, don't.
We just know bad weather, and we keep a good stock of food and water, and we don't have to go anywhere.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Well, landslides also shut down a stretch of I-84 for much of the day yesterday. This stretch is back open now. We're talking about eastbound lanes from Troutdale to Cascade Locks. They were closed when debris came down with a lot of water rushing out of Tumult Creek.
With all the rain that we've been having in the last couple of days, it's not a surprise that we're seeing some slides out there. And the gorge is one of the areas in the state that's really prone to slides.
Yeah, the gorge is prone to slides, and the big one they're clearing right now near Cascade Locks is in that same area that we saw a deadly slide happen last January. That's when 50-year-old Jennifer Moore of Warrendale was stuck in her car as it got covered by debris.
Two smaller slides closed roads to the south of the gorge in Clackamas County. This is a look at crews cleaning up the mess on Bull Run Road at Laughing Water in Sandy. In Brightwood, Barlow Trail Road is also covered in a slide. Both roads remain closed this morning. And it's not just rural areas seeing trouble. A dash cam caught a large tree falling on top of a van in southeast Portland yesterday morning. This was on Tacoma Street near 32nd Avenue. The van had some damage, but the driver wasn't hurt.
Well, Portland police are investigating a shooting in North Portland this morning. You can see from this video we're going to show you there were multiple bullets that hit the door of the car that we're showing you here. The car should be coming up here momentarily. Police were called to North Interstate and North Going around 2 this morning. Portland police have not released any details about this shooting. They also haven't said whether anyone was hurt.
Well, a big shakeup in the race for Oregon's next governor. Democratic candidate and former New York Times columnist Nicholas Kristoff has been disqualified from the race. Officials say he doesn't meet the state's residency requirements. In order to run for governor in Oregon, you have to be a resident for at least 3 years leading up to the election. That's written in the state's constitution. Kristoff is from Oregon, and he does own property in Yamhill County. He also visits here often and calls the state his home, but the Secretary of State says his case wasn't strong enough. And among her key points and from the Elections Division, Kristoff voted in New York, not in Oregon, in 2020, and he didn't provide documentation proving that he paid any income taxes in Oregon in 2019 or 2020.
My top priority is building trust with Oregonians. And we build trust by applying the same rules to everybody. The same rules to someone famous as to someone who's not. The same rules to someone in my political party as someone who's not.
All of us here, we all know that Oregon can do better. The political establishment doesn't want to hear that. I guess I can't blame them. They've been in power for years, and they don't really have anything new to say.
Kristoff has also lived in New York and held a New York driver's license for over 20 years. He vowed to appeal this in court. They're going to have to work fast, though. State officials have started printing ballots for the primary in March. He's one of dozens running for the office, including Oregon House Speaker Tina Kotek, who announced she's resigning from her speaker position because she is running for governor this fall. She's served 9 years as speaker, longer than anyone in Oregon history. Her last day in office will be January 21st. The next session starts February 1st.
Well, yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of the attempted takeover of the U.S. Capitol. But 2 weeks before that happened, a group of people tried to take over the Oregon State Capitol. So that event happened December 21st of 2020. Conservatives who were angry over COVID restrictions and lockdowns tried to get into the building that day while it was closed to the public. Lawmakers were holding a special one-day session. Senate President Peter Courtney said both events, the one here in Oregon and the one in D.C., revealed the anger by some towards government leaders. And that's a feeling that has not faded.
Oh, it's just as bad. I don't think anything simmered down at all. I mean, I don't sense the meanness and the hatred and the refusal to deal with people that you don't like or care for. I mean, I don't think any of that simmered down its own. I think it's actually in some ways gotten worse.
Courtney said as a result of that event 2 Decembers ago at the Oregon State Capitol, the building will now have metal detectors for the very first time when the legislature meets next month.
Okay, let's check back in with Rod Hill on our Friday forecast. What you watching?
One final weather front we need to get through this morning, and then we're done with everything. How about that? All right, we do have rain that's starting to pick up on radar just off to our west. Some heavy rain pockets approaching the coast and now moving up into the coast range. So rain will be picking up during the morning commute hours. There's a heavy pocket just outside of Astoria right now. Futurecast shows certainly in the 6 o'clock hour into 7 o'clock, rain's picking up across the area. And as quickly as late morning, this is 11:30, most of what we're going to get today will be over. We'll have a few lingering showers this afternoon, but really mainly dry weather. And then that sets the stage for a pretty nice weekend. This does show, and there are other forecast models that show the same thing, a lingering shower chance overnight into early tomorrow morning with some cloudiness, but then eventually everything just clears out tomorrow, and we're off and running with a nice weekend expected. Temperatures are still mild out. We will get cooler once the front passes this morning, and we'll spend in the afternoon in the 40s. But for now, we're still 53 in Portland. Everybody out east is also above freezing right now. Forecast numbers. So the highs will be the early morning temps today. And then overnight tonight, temperatures drop into the 30s. Morning wind advisory for south winds 30 to 40 miles per hour, but a mainly dry, quiet afternoon. And similar conditions up through Clark County. The wind advisory does not extend into Cowlitz County, but it does Clark County. And again, overnight tonight, temperatures quickly cooling off into the 30s. So active morning coming. We still have a flood advisory posted, so be on alert for potential new high water spots. We could still have some additional, kind of landslide or collapse areas around the region. Tomorrow becoming dry, partly cloudy, 46, sunny all day on Sunday, sunny all day on Monday. Shower chance now showing up the mid part of next week. That's your forecast.
All right, Rod, thank you much. All right, Beaver Nation. Pay attention. This is good stuff. Research Stadium at Oregon State University will undergo a major facelift later this morning. Demolition crews will implode the west side of the stands just before 8 a.m. Our Devin Haskins is live near the stadium this morning. And Devin, this project will eventually bring the entire stadium up to date. And who doesn't love a good implosion?
Yeah, so the east side stands were completed in 2005 with plans to redo the west side. Well, we finally reached that day, albeit rainy and kind of cold, but today is the day, and let me set the scene for you. So we're across the street from the stands from Research Stadium in a hotel parking lot, and over my right-hand shoulder, those are the west side stands, and charges are set in a couple hours. We'll hear a few pops, then that side of the stadium will come crashing down, and they say it'll happen within seconds. The west side stands have been around since the 1950s. The project will tear down the complete west side and rebuild it. Since December, crews have been tearing out the old stands and any steel and salvaging it. Plus, they don't want anything, and it makes sense, during the implosion to fly out. The renovated Research Stadium will feature new seating for fans, but also feature year-round facilities, a new health center for students and staff, and a new interactive welcome center for students thinking about going to OSU. The $153 million project was made possible through game day sales, as well as a very generous and anonymous $50 million donation. Now, construction expected to wrap up before the 2023 season. So this next season, 7 games will be played here. 1 game will be played at Portland State. And then here in about 2.5 hours, just before 8 o'clock this morning, again, you'll see the stands crash down. You can watch that live on our website at kgw.com.
You know, tons of people will.
Guys.
All right, thank you, Devin. And we ask our viewers to post their memories of Research Stadium on our Facebook page. We got some good answers. Stephen Fargo remembers the Giant Killer game against USC and O.J. Simpson, but says it'll always be Park Stadium for me. Yeah, it was renamed Research Stadium back in 1999. And then this comment from Mark Williams, also going with USC, but back in 2006. He says the stands were rocking. You can join the conversation, share your own memories and photos of Research Stadium. Just text us at 503-226-5088. We're going to be covering the implosion all throughout the morning here on KGW. Again, it's happening between 7:40 and 8 o'clock. We'll stream it live for you on kgw.com and on our Facebook and YouTube pages.
All right, let's talk about what's coming up here in our next segment of Sunrise. The ripple effects researchers say could come as a result of Oregon's diminishing glaciers. But before we get to that story, we have this one. We've talked a lot about COVID long haulers. Those are people who are still experiencing COVID symptoms months or even longer after they get the virus. Up next, we'll verify if kids can fall into that long haulers category. That's right after this quick break.